Our next speaker is Cook County Board President. She is a frequent attendee at City Club of Chicago events, for which we are enormously grateful. Ladies and gentlemen, Toni Preckwinkle. Madam President.
Good afternoon. Good afternoon. I'm grateful to be here today to support Suzette. I know she's going to have some interesting thoughts to share. We are tenants in the medical district and work closely with the IMD, and I just wanted to be here to be part of the audience and, as I said, to hear her good words. I also want to acknowledge the presence of our Chief Executive Officer, Dr. Jay Shannon, and two of our commissioners, Chuy Garcia and Robert Steele. So thank you both for being in attendance, and I look forward to the presentation. Thanks so much.
Thank you, Madam President. If you have questions, if you would just get them up here to Jackie Robinson Ivy, right there, and just kind of move them up. Our guest today is Executive Director of the Illinois Medical District Commission, the IMD. The IMD is a 24/7, 365 environment that includes 560 acres of medical research facilities, labs, a biotech business incubator, universities, raw land development areas, and more than 40 healthcare-related facilities. Our guest today earned her doctorate degree from the UIC School of Public Health, her Bachelor of Arts in Biology from Brandeis, and her Master of Public Health degree from Benedictine University. And she is so smart that she brought her husband, Martin, to be with us today. Martin, now why don't you wave to the crowd? That's a City Club welcome. And on top of that, her fabulous daughter, who's at St. Ignatius, an outstanding swimmer, Joya. Joya, why don't you wave to everybody? There we go. Ladies and gentlemen, Dr. Suzet McKinney. Thank you. Have fun up here. Have fun.
Wow. Good afternoon, everyone. And thank you so much for being here. It is such a great pleasure to be here today to address the City Club of Chicago, the premier public affairs forum in Illinois. Before I begin, I have a few acknowledgments I'd like to make. First to Jay Doherty. Thank you so much, Jay, for the invitation to be here today. It is indeed an honor. And I cannot go further without offering my condolences to the entire City Club family during this difficult time. Dr. Paul Green's legacy of service to the City Club and the residents of Chicago and Illinois, as well as in the field of education, was immeasurable. So I know that he will be deeply missed. Again, thank you so much to all of the elected officials that are in the audience today, particularly those that have been fantastic partners to the IMD and have supported me since the very beginning of my tenure there. So I'd like to thank Alderman Irvin, and I haven't seen Alderman Burnett or Scott, but I'd like to thank them as well, and also Cook County Commissioner Robert Steele for their incredible partnership over the last year. I'm often inspired by one of Chicago's great visionaries, Daniel Burnham, and I'm humbled and honored to make no small plans. And each of them have supported me in my efforts to bring that spirit forward. I'd also like to thank the IMD Board of Commissioners, almost all of whom are here today. They are staunch supporters of my vision for the IMD, and despite the very busy lives and careers that they all lead, they find the time to lend their skills and expertise to us when needed to ensure that our progress continues. My administrative staff is here today, so I'd like to thank them as well. I could not ask for a more dedicated and hardworking team. Today you will hear a lot about our progress and our work to place the IMD on the map and realize our full potential. The team from Remedy has been instrumental in those efforts, and so I'd like to acknowledge their presence as well. And I also have a couple of very special friends in the audience. Gail Manili and Hugh Shields from Shields Manili Partners. I met Gail about 4 years ago through a mutual friend, and since that time, she has been an amazing friend, confidant, and advisor. I don't really know at what point she adopted me, but she soon introduced me to Hugh, and he adopted me too, and they've both been great friends, and I'm thankful that they are here today. There are many other IMD friends and partners in the audience, too many to name in this jam-packed room, but you all know who you are, so please know that I am deeply grateful for your presence as well. And last but not least, I'd like to thank my family, my husband Martin and my daughter Joya, for being here today. They are my biggest cheerleaders, and so I'm grateful for that. So I'm standing before you today exactly 1 year to the day that I assumed leadership of the Illinois Medical District. I will share with you today our new vision for a brighter future for the Illinois Medical District, the reality of where we were 1 year ago, our progress on imagining a new future, and the bold steps that we are taking to get there. But first, a little bit of background. On September 18, 2015, I walked out of the doors of the Chicago Department of Public Health, leaving behind my role as Deputy Commissioner of Emergency Preparedness and Response, what I consider to be my dream job. It was a job that was never part of my career plan, but the events of 9/11 changed the course of my career and led me on a 14-year journey of learning, planning, teaching, training, and advising on how to improve this country's public health infrastructure and better prepare our communities for emergencies and disasters. And that became my passion. So it didn't surprise me when people asked, well, if that's your passion, why are you walking away? And I think the answer was that I was just ready for a new challenge. I had some previous exposure to the IMD through partnerships that we had forged at the health department with a number of organizations that reside in the IMD, such as the American Red Cross. But at that time, I did not fully grasp its enormous potential, not until I was in the midst of the selection process. I soon realized that the lessons that I learned and the knowledge that I had gained over more than a decade of public health leadership could be applied in ways that would benefit the IMD and its surrounding communities. So in my opinion, it was the perfect fit. So on September 21st, 2015, I walked into the IMD offices excited about my new challenge, but still not entirely sure of how we would help or rise to the challenge of helping one of the nation's largest urban medical districts realize its full potential. Some people still ask me, what is the IMD? So let me tell you. The IMD is a 560-acre special use zoning district in Chicago, whose mission is to promote and sustain an environment dedicated to healthcare, health education, biotechnology, and technology innovation. A 24/7, 365 environment that houses 4 major hospitals and healthcare systems: the Rush University Medical Center, the John H. Stroger Hospital of Cook County, the University of Illinois Health and Hospital System, and the Jesse Brown VA Medical Center, as well as over 40 other healthcare-related facilities. A 2013 economic impact study of the Illinois Medical District revealed that the IMD sees 50,000 visitors a day and over 29,000 employees per day. The economic impact of the IMD is $3.4 billion annually. Over 700 clinical trials are conducted annually in the IMD, and we house the nation's largest and most diverse medical school, the UIC College of Medicine, as well as another major medical school, the Rush University Medical College. The IMD is also the state's largest concentration of healthcare institutions and is the incubation hub for over 30 emerging technology-based companies. But here's the reality. All of those great things are happening in the IMD, and still not many people know who we are or what we do. The low visibility of the IMD was abundantly evident when I stepped into this role 1 year ago today. So not long thereafter, we embarked on an aggressive rebranding project with 3 simple goals: raise the profile of the IMD, create a distinctive value proposition in the market, one that would answer the question of what should the IMD be known for, and finally, to place the IMD on the map, on a path for growth and development, one that will help us create a more vibrant, thriving urban medical district. an ecosystem of healthcare, pharmaceutical, and other science and healthcare-oriented businesses and organizations who thrive and grow because of their commitment to innovation and partnership. So I have to tell you a story. There were times in my early days at the IMD when I asked myself, what on earth was I thinking and what have I gotten into? But there was one defining moment that confirmed for me that I was in the right place doing the right work. That moment came in the midst of our rebranding campaign. We had conducted over 20 one-on-one interviews with business, healthcare, and political leaders from across the city, IMD board members, as well as IMD staff and nonprofit partners. We then held a one-day brand summit facilitated by our partner Remedy, a Chicago brand consultancy focused on healthcare innovation. We convened an unprecedented collaborative session with IMD partners, government, and business leaders to explore what was possible for the IMD. We interviewed Alderman Burnett in the first phase of that project, but we knew that his commitment to City Hall and his community might prevent him from attending the summit. But on the morning of the summit, he was one of the first to arrive. He told me that he couldn't stay for the entire day, but he wanted to know what we were up to in the IMD. He wanted to understand our thinking and ensure that it would provide value to the surrounding communities. He told me that he could stay for about 45 minutes, but 3 hours into the summit, I walked into one of the debriefing rooms where they had just completed a brainstorming session, and at the front of the room was Alderman Burnett, presenting the concepts for the IMD's future that his group had created. I saw the same dedication that day from many of our IMD partners, including UIC, Cook County, and Easter Seals. We asked them to take time from their demanding positions within their own organizations an entire day to help us to create a vision for the future of the IMD. And I have to tell you, they came through in a big way. They brought honest opinions, thoughtful ideas about what direction we should take the IMD, and how we could best utilize our collaborative spirit and diverse resources to get there. It was in this moment that I realized that the IMD is bigger than us. It is bigger than the hospitals and the other organizations that reside there. The IMD is about economic growth for the city, the state, and Cook County. But the IMD is also about the creation of economic vitality for the surrounding communities that have been struggling and waiting for the right time to come when they too can participate in some of the greatness happening in our city. That day, Alderman Burnett was the symbol for those communities. He helped me to understand that making no small plans had to be the order of the day. I began to realize that the new partners moving into the IMD and the economic advantages that they bring must be diverse and progressive so as to diversify opportunities, thus providing maximum benefit to other IMD partners and the surrounding communities. So we continued our work that day and for many days thereafter until we had developed what we thought was the right strategy and positioning of the IMD from which to approach new business development. Our new goal is to attract healthcare visionaries, those who believe that innovation is integral to their success. The IMD offers partners a unique ecosystem of knowledge, collaboration, and resources, plus something more, the opportunity to impact the world's next great district for healthcare innovation. Together, IMD partners accelerate discovery and commercialization that is reshaping the practice of medicine, generating prosperity for everyone. This is our new strategy for business development and growth. When we asked our partners their thoughts about the IMD, they were honest with us, brutally honest. In return, we listened to them and we plan to act upon that feedback. They told us that we needed to move the IMD from a position of not being known for much to being an organization with a clear purpose and value. From the perception of landholder to the status of a visionary organization that drives economic growth. and from invisible and underutilized to a major player in the healthcare marketplace. And finally, from an unknown medical district to a health life destination. As I said before, make no small plans. We want the IMD and Chicago to be the world's leading health and medical innovation district, not replacing a model that has been done before, but creating one that will reflect what medicine and healthcare will need for the future. As the nation's third largest city and a major healthcare hub, it's our time to put Chicago on the world map, and I intend to do everything within my reach to get us there. In its recent report, The Rise of Innovation Districts, A New Geography of Innovation in America, the Brookings Institute highlights the remarkable shift occurring in the spatial geography of innovation as the U.S. slowly emerges from the Great Recession. The authors point out how the landscape of innovation has been dominated by places like Silicon Valley for the past 50 years. Suburban corridors of isolated corporate campuses with limited access by means other than cars and little emphasis on quality of life or on integrating work, housing, and recreation. So too has been the existence of the IMD for the past 75 years. But now that is changing. What we are seeing as we look across the country is the emergence of a new urban model, as Brookings describes it, innovation districts. Geographic areas where leading-edge anchor institutions and companies cluster and connect with startups, business incubators, and accelerators. Areas that are transit accessible, technically wired, and offer mixed-use housing, office, and retail. Our work to envision a new reality for the IMD has yielded big, bold ideas, ideas that will ensure the brightest future possible. We will be seeking to attract big pharma, clinical research organizations, medical device companies, biotechnology firms, IT companies, healthcare venture capitalists, and others. We are seeking entities whose business focus and products will complement the hospitals, medical systems, and other IMD partners so that collaboration and open innovation can happen. We are seeking businesses who are willing to partner with us and our anchor institutions to put a stake in the ground on building expertise around global medical problems. We believe there is a hunger for provocative, multidimensional solutions to complex problems. Advances in clinical research, cutting-edge treatment services for veterans, and establishing centers of excellence for emergency preparedness, medical simulation, and medical tourism are just a few of our goals. So as you can see, the IMD is moving boldly and swiftly into the future by shedding our existence as the suburban office park within the city. For the first time since 1997, we have developed a new master plan, one that sets the direction and the guidelines for creating the physical environment that will be the IMD of the future. The new master plan, which was approved by our board in July, encourages urban-style development, fosters the provision of high-quality amenities such as retail space, restaurants, and social gathering areas. It supports transit use and walkability and will help us elevate the brand of the IMD by creating a sense of place and identity. We are greatly appreciative of our friends at the Metropolitan Planning Council, CMAP, KPMG, HOK, Solomon Cordwell Benz, Sam Schwartz Engineering, CDOT, and the CTA, who are all helping us to get there. We are creating an urban landscape where the best and brightest professionals can live, work, and play. I stole that from Chancellor Amaritas. Some of you may be wondering how we plan to do all of this. And that brings us to my other personal motto, get stuff done. I can tell you that we are already actively engaged in a number of projects and initiatives that will get us there. 2 weeks ago, after 3 years of deliberating and planning, mobilization and preliminary site work began at the Gateway development at 2020 West Ogden. Located at the intersection of Damon, Harrison, and Ogden, this 1.2 million square feet mixed-use development will house the first ever hotel within the IMD's borders, multifamily housing, a young professionals residential tower, restaurants, retail and amenity spaces, a medical office facility, a life sciences laboratory, fitness center, pharmacy, and a 500-space multi-level parking structure, all anchored by an open space public plaza. When I came to the IMD 1 year ago, I asked the development team to expedite their plans so that we could get this development in the ground, and they did just that. The development is set to create about 3,000 construction jobs and over 1,000 permanent jobs for the IMD and the surrounding communities. So Elsie, Jack, Eileen, Tom, and John, thank you for keeping your word and helping us to move forward. But that's not all. Our friends at Cook County are helping us create the IMD of the future with plans to redevelop the entire Cook County Health and Hospital System campus. This project will also create temporary and permanent jobs that will help us drive economic growth in the district. Their plans include the construction of a new ambulatory care clinic, complete rehabilitation of the old Cook County Hospital into a boutique hotel, market rate housing, and affordable housing, as well as additional retail, office space, open gathering spaces, and a technology center. Other development plans already underway in the district include modernization of the IMD stop on the CTA Blue Line and the development of Rush University Medical Center's new ambulatory health center at Harrison and Ashland. Upon completion, these facilities will join the new CAN TV headquarters, Vertiport Chicago, and the new Chicago Center for Arts and Technology, or CHICAT as we like to call it, an arts and education job training facility scheduled to be completed in December of this year. CHICAT will provide much-needed digital art and design education to youth and job training services such as medical assistance and medical coding to adults in our underserved communities. Our partners from Cook County, Rush, CAN TV, the Red Cross, and CHICAT are all here today. Please join me in thanking them for their commitment to helping us achieve our collective goals for the IMD. So we think all of these things are great, but we also want to assure that people have choices in the IMD. So with support from Alderman Jason Irvin, the IMD has been successful in obtaining an ordinance from City Council that will allow food trucks to operate in the IMD for the first time ever. This is just one of many steps toward filling a long-standing need for more amenities in the district. We've also hired a technology strategist who is spearheading a project to implement an ultra-high-speed fiber optic network in the IMD. This will ensure that we have the type of infrastructure needed by high-end, high-capacity data users, such as research organizations and technology firms, to operate effectively and efficiently. When we go knocking on their doors in the coming months and year, we will be able to say that the IMD holds both the physical and technological amenities that they both need and desire as they consider establishing a presence in Chicago. They will know from the outset that the IMD is a competitor in the marketplace for their business. So as you can see, we have progressed by leaps and bounds in the past year. But all of this progress does not come easily, and it does not come without clear, dedicated hard work and strategic initiatives. At the start of my tenure, our board asked me to prioritize the streamlining of our financial operations. We filled an important staff vacancy by hiring a new chief financial officer. We then conducted a comprehensive assessment of our financial practices and implemented new standards of accountability, reliability, and quality control. As a result, our financial outlook is brighter, which gives us more flexibility to create difference makers and innovative businesses that will help mold the IMD into the next great urban medical district. We have also engaged in a strategic relationship with a new banking partner, Signature Bank. Mick O'Rourke, the president and CEO of Signature Bank, is here today. Mick, thank you so much for your partnership and your commitment to the IMD. This road to a brighter future, again, has not been easy, but the end is in sight, and we do not plan to turn back. I have to publicly thank Trey Childress, the Deputy Governor, for his support in that endeavor. Trey, your support has been invaluable. Thank you so much. So in closing, I hope that I've been able to effectively express my steadfast belief that swift progress requires bold steps. Bold steps are what is needed to move the IMD forward as we seek to create the medical district of the future. The opportunity could not be more timely, and trust me when I tell you that I don't plan to let it pass us by. By now, I hope you can see not only what the IMD is, but what it is that the IMD can become. It only takes a couple of times for you to read the stories in the business section of Crain's that pop up every other day to know that the IMD is the next great real estate growth corridor in Chicago, with an embedded asset base, the tremendous potential for growth, and an increase in the tax base for the city, county, and state. The West Loop has happened, Fulton Market has happened, and the Central Business District is likely expanding westward, and when it does, it will directly abut the boundaries of the IMD. So we are next at bat, and we don't plan to strike out. But we can't do it alone. We know that the expertise and the wherewithal required to achieve the results that we are seeking are specialized and advanced. And we are smart enough to understand that there are many out there who can help us quite effectively. So we've decided to seek them out. Perhaps some of you in the room today will fit that bill. As of 12:30 this afternoon, just a few moments ago, the IMD released a request for proposals for real estate, advisory, and strategic services. We are seeking the best and the brightest in the professional real estate and strategic advisory services industry to assist us in executing our plans for growth and development in a manner consistent with the great tradition of the unique Chicago business and more general community. The IMD will be seeking assistance from organizations and individuals in the community, in both the private and public sector, because we all should recognize that the success of the IMD will be the success of all of us in Chicago and the region. Desired services include asset analysis and performance advisory, leasing and brokerage, strategic marketing services, development and transaction advisory services, and facilities and asset management, which includes energy savings and sustainability. So if you'd like to help us continue to move the needle forward and achieve the goals that we have set for the IMD, I invite you to download the RFP and provide us with your response. In fact, I invite everyone in this room to join us as we take the next bold step. The motto remains the same: make no small plans. It is time for Chicago, a major healthcare city, to put a stake in the ground and no longer let Houston, Boston, Detroit, and Raleigh-Durham be known as the leading medical innovation districts in this country. You see, we are made in Chicago, but we are changing the world. Thank you for your time.
That mass exodus that you see is everyone going to get their RFP started. So it wasn't that they didn't want to, stay for the Q&A. It's just that they're off rushing to get their folks ready for the RFPs. What a wonderful, wonderful presentation. Before we get started with questions, has anybody got any more? Jack? You guys aren't doing this to me. I have one question. I know she rocked it, but I have one question. Okay, so I'm going to wait for a couple more questions. I know people have heard, but just want to make sure that you know definitively, the memorial service for Dr. Paul Green will be October 4th. The doors will open at 10 o'clock. We will start at 10:30. Is that correct, Jay? Something like that, right? Okay, so be here at 10 o'clock if you want, get a good seat. All right, so, yeah, that's that for that. So Mick had a question from Signature Bank. Mick, you want to wave your hand? He is a City Club member, by the way. And we hear that he's you guys' new financial partner.
That he is.
I'm going to shake that off a little bit, you know.
Oh, I'm sorry.
I'm trying to shake that off. Trying real hard here. I worked for some little bank, 125 years, I don't know. Some little place down the street, Northern Trust, I don't know, but Signature, I'm proud of you. Congratulations. Really, Susan? I thought we were friends. So the question is, I noticed that symbol on the map is part of the new logo. What is in the background on the symbol? Oh, Joya is tipping out.
Joya has to go back to school.
Oh, okay. I think she had an RFP to fill out or something, so.
Thank you for the question, Mick. Ryan, can we go back one slide? So I mentioned that we've been engaged in a rebranding project. So Mick, as a part of that project, we have developed a new logo and tagline for the IMD, and that is what you see here. So that symbol is the IMD's new logo, and as the tagline says, made in Chicago, changing the world, you will notice the great similarity to the Chicago Star. So that is what that symbol is.
Okay, I like that. I like that. I am going to channel Dr. Green here a little bit. Penmanship really does count. I am sure he is somewhere laughing because, as you all know, I agreed with him on everything, right? That was totally a joke for those of you who didn't know. Mary Sue Barrett, Mary, says, how can the IMD become a valuable, walkable urban district as it grows?
Thank you, Mary Sue. So we, as you know, we are engaged in many conversations around decreasing the heavy dependence on vehicular traffic in the medical district. We are talking with CDOT about some dedicated walkable paths throughout the district, as well as the implementation of an IMD circulator shuttle, something that resembles the Loop Link. And with our new master plan and the design guidelines, we are also decreasing the setbacks from the street so that we can make sidewalks wider and more walkable, and also working to increase the presence of divvy bikes, because again, we are a medical district, so we are trying to implement projects and initiatives that help people be healthier and really get out there and exercise physically. So those are some of the things that we are doing to become a more walkable district.
Dr. McKinney's been reading somebody's playbook. I just heard that, there's another question. I just heard that Chicago has become the most bikeable city in the United States or something like that. So for those of us who are driving everywhere, please watch out for the bikers. Includes me. Graham Grady, who is a City Club member, is asking, can you talk about the source of this incredible energy that we're talking about here? So.
Let's see, Starbucks every morning. Not a plug for Starbucks. You know what, Graham? I just love what I do. I love what I do. I don't take on any project that I can't be passionate about, and I don't know how to stop. So that's as honest as it gets.
It is no mistake that Suzette and I are fast friends. Someone once asked me, do you wake up like that? And I think it was Kwame Raoul. I was like, yeah, I do. So, and attest to her husband, you said something like, get stuff done. And I think he whispered something at the table like, she means that. So clearly, we see who runs things at the house. I like that. So Thomas McElroy says, can you talk about your vision that crosses the expressway and partners with Malcolm X, please?
So we have a number of partners just to the north of the 290 Expressway, just to the north of the IMD, most notably Malcolm X College. President David Sanders is here. We're working on a number of initiatives with Malcolm X to help ensure that there are direct pipelines from education to career for the students graduating from Malcolm X. One of those partners is a very prominent and large private ambulance company that operates here in the Midwest. And there are a number of other initiatives that we're also working on to ensure easy passageway from the IMD to our partners and our neighbors on the northern side of the IMD. Some of those are still preliminary, so I'm not at liberty to specifically address what they are, but please know that there are plans in the works to better connect the IMD to our partners across the expressway.
I'm going to say that Chicago, Cook County, Illinois, and mostly the IMD is most fortunate to have you.
Thank you, Jack.
I think where's your staff? You guys wave your hands. Do you guys sleep? No? It's okay.
No, they're resting.
They're resting.
I'm
This
like
is
in the office
resting.
too, yes.
Congratulations to you all. I think we all in Chicago have a gem here, and I think we should give her a round of applause.